Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
When April showers may come your way, they bring the flowers that bloom in May. So if it's raining, have no regrets. Because it isn't raining, rain you know is raining violets. You think I'm done? You're just trying to make me finish.
Keep going.
So when you see clouds high on a hill, you soon will see crowds of daffodils. So keep on and listening for its song whenever April shower. Can't quite get that one. Come along. Is anyone still there? Oh, shouldn't have done that, Jess. They've all gone. I'm sorry. I'll cease. I'll desist. I won't do it again. I swear. I promise. Please, come back. Hello. It's Wednesday, huh? Is it Wednesday? Good heavens, it is. It's the third, the first, the second. It's the second of the aforementioned April. And it's good to have you here. Oh. So I'm coming up in the elevator, coming up in the elevator today. And there was a man and a young man who got in with me in the lobby. And there's a very serious conversation going on. And just as we neared my floor, dang it, the guy says to the younger one, success, you have to understand, is based on, and my floor arrived, and I wanted to hear what he was going to say, because I don't know that I ever would start a sentence like that. I mean, how do you finish that? I think he said relationships as I was getting out, but he wasn't done. He was relationships. I mean, he was getting out. Oh, yeah, they were getting out. That's what it was. That wasn't me. Yeah, they were a floor before me. But whatever, they exited, and I didn't really hear it. And he had said before, it's one thing to get the interview. It's another thing. And I have a feeling they were going in, I don't know, and the younger kid looked really like, he looked scared. He looked burdened. He looked like, oh, God, I got to get this success thing. What would you say? Success. That's not an easy thing to... First of all, everybody's got their own definition, probably. But I would think everyone... Well, I don't know about everyone. I think most people would agree that success is measured in part by the satisfaction you take in the job you do. I'm absolutely going to steer clear of success as a matter of making money. I just do not think that. Lot of people out there with money. And they're not. They don't feel successful because it isn't about money. I don't know. But that's a problem with being an adult when you're expected to have those conversations with young people. And what the hell do you know? Do you know what success is? Success can be serendipity. Success can be, just flat out dumb luck. Success can be hard work. Success can, yes, be relationships you build and decisions you make. I don't know what that, but I thought, oh my God, that's so heavy. So it's one of the things I don't like about being an adult, being expected to give advice to young people. I don't ever know what to say. I'd like to do what you do. How did you get to do what you do? Well, sort of stumbling around and it just happened. I don't know what to say to anybody. I really don't. You know what? It's every person for themselves, so just figure it out yourself, okay? So I'm cleaning out my little folder that I carry things in, and I came across a treasure trove just a second ago of stuff that I think, these are little like things that I've been carrying around. Some of them are so wrinkled and that the ink is sort of not as, it's hard to read. I think I've been carrying these things around for a long time, and I seem to vaguely recall that this one, that some of them that were already sort of marked up, was sent to me by this wonderful old man. I'm going to beg any of you who've listened to me for 30 years or so. Oh, I want to say his name was Chuck, but I have no idea. He was an old man who listened a lot. I eventually went to see him over at the hospital on the south side that's now UPMC. I don't think it was then. He died not long after that. What was his name? Wonderful old character. One of those audio didacts, I think. He was just constantly reading. Clarence, I think, knows who I'm talking about. Anyway, I think this is his, because he used to send me these scraps that he would come across, and he was, I thought, always on the money. And this is my damn memory. I can't even think of his name. He lived on the north side, I think. So what was he doing in Southside Hospital? I don't know. Maybe someone will help me out here. Here's one he gave me, and this has to, seriously, this would be from the, I don't know, I think the late 80s. Is that Clarence? Hello?
Yeah, yes, it is Clarence.
Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Chuck.
It is Chuck. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I didn't hear the whole conversation. I just turned in.
Okay, so what was, why were we all so drawn to him? Because he was so wise and
he was extremely wise. He had, what did he say to me one time that I didn't think, he said that he was talking about the Bible, and he said, that this is the meek shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
And he said it wasn't meek, it was something else. And
he
was so wise and kind and all that stuff. Like Harold. Harold was like a...
Well, Harold's still with us.
Yeah, I know.
But so Chuck... do you remember what he did for a living, his life story at all? Cause
I remember nothing about him except that he was like a great old dude. Yeah, that's it. That's all I remember. now that you said that, I'm going to have to call that that hippie guy who probably.
I know, Blovius might remember more.
Yeah.
I would like to remember more about him because I had forgotten him completely until I pulled this tattered thing out.
Yeah,
and I know he underlined things for me. I think sometimes he thought I wouldn't get the gist.
Yeah, we went to his house, or we used to have little meetings.
Yes.
We called them salons, and he came to a few.
Yes.
Yeah, a great guy.
Oh.
See, these are the type of things that I almost have to credit you for.
Yeah.
That if you didn't exist and your show didn't exist, I never would have experienced. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And those of us who go back a long way know that at some point, yes, we did sort of reach out to each other on occasion and, yes, would meet. And then there was this real effort to get like-minded people together. And you would never, none of us ever would have met Chuck.
Yeah.
What a wondrous being he was.
Yeah, because I've talked about him, since, before, but not in a while until you brought. And I literally just came on, I turned it on, and you said, "What was his name? Chuck?" That's all I heard, and I instantly grabbed the phone.
I'm so glad I at least got that far. Listen to here's what I've got. The two things that he had sent. This is what I have. I have a few, and I also have a column that and it's not titled, but I think it's from, there was a guy who wrote in Chicago, and I'm blanking on his name now, who I know Chuck thought was brilliant, and I'm blanking on that guy's name. I think that's one of his. Anyway, here's what he sent to me with a big, big mark. This is important. I don't know who said it. The easiest way for a nation to destroy itself is to make national security its highest value. Mm-hmm. Indeed, people are never more insecure when they become obsessed with their fears at the expense of their dreams, or when the ability to fight becomes more important than the things worth fighting for.
That's good.
That's good! And the only other one I have here from him is life is an adventure in forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, those are the type of things that I think just handles your Facebook page, just to put up there. Just take that quote.
I agree. I agree.
And because all you have to do is put a part of that quote in quotes and put it into a Google search, and you'll find it.
Well, that's true.
Who wrote it and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye. Gigi says, are you thinking of Harold? No, we're not thinking of Harold from Whitehall, who's still very much with us. In fact, I think I have his business card over here. I actually called him not too long ago just to reacquaint myself. Harold, I always like Harold's voice. Harold makes our guy who calls always, have a nice day, our have a nice day guy, sound like a cockeyed optimist. Harold always was, my favorite Harold line, which was repeated more than once, and this again is in the 80s, into the 90s, was, what this country needs is a good depression. And he said it he meant it. He felt that the depression, because he had come up in it, had made people stronger, more appreciative of, got their priorities straight. I always understood exactly what he meant. And we just had a real good recession, and yowie, I don't want a really good depression. That recession was really hard on people, and I don't know that any of us learned a damn thing from it. Can I read you this column he sent? This bears... The reason I've kept these for so long is they are so true that we must remind ourselves of them. These are truths. Here's another. This guy is saying that he was giving a speech for college students, and he was questioned with, what is the most important lesson you've learned in life? And he said, I had no hesitancy in replying. See, this is like the elevator thing. What's the most important thing? The lesson in life? I don't, brush your teeth? I don't know. I can never think of something. But this guy, whose name I will think of if it's the last thing I do, because I do know it, Chicago columnist, he said, with no problem, the most important lesson in life is how to accept ambiguity and live with it. Oh, that would destroy talk radio. It would be the destruction of every so many. So cable television goes down. Fox goes down. MSNBC goes down. They all go down because they don't like ambiguity. They like good guys, bad guys, black, white. But it's never like that. It's lazy and easy. But living with ambiguity, now there's setting the bar high and realistically. Okay, so it's very little. I'll just read a little bit and I'll stop doing these parenthetical things. What I meant was learning how not to be frozen into one attitude toward events that happen in the world, or to myself, or to others. Human life is many things, both wonderful and terrible. It is a mixed fabric of good and evil, happiness and horror, matters we can control to some degree and matters beyond our control. We can do much, but not all. The task is to do as much as we can and to accept what comes after that, to acknowledge both the efforts of free will and the ultimate decisions of fate. Ambiguity is the very essence of human existence. Almost nobody is loved as much as he or she would like to be. Nobody succeeds in every area of life, just as nearly nobody fails in every area. We cannot change the cards we are dealt. We can only play the hand to the best. People who cannot or will not accept ambiguity in the human condition are the most miserable and disappointed of all. They are either swimming upstream or sinking, drowning when they could float. Most people today fail to recognize that happiness is a fairly recent aspiration of the human race. For most of history, survival was the goal. Coping, making do, struggling against the caprices of natural disasters and the blows of social and economic injustice. The acceptance of ambiguity implies more than the commonplace understanding that some good things and some bad things happen to us. It means that we know that good and evil are inextricably intermixed. Inextricably intermixed in human affairs. That they contain and sometimes embrace their opposites. That success may involve failure of a different kind, and failure may be a kind of triumph. Chuck. Last name began with a P, last name began with a P, it's coming back to me. I even want to say Parnell. Chuck, I'm feeling you, I'm feeling you, I'm feeling you, I'm feeling you. Okay, I've got other things here, but I'll save them for another day. That's quite enough, right? Let me take a break. I'm going to catch up with some emails we have here and then get into some other stuff.
My computer just froze.
Your computer just froze, so that means you can't go to a break.
For another minute, I'm going to try to...
Okay, I'll go to some of the... talking about wood stoves yesterday and how the county has put a bounty on them, and if you hand in your wood stove, you'll get like $500 or something. I don't know what it was exactly. I don't know. You'll have to call the county in an effort to reduce, harm to the environment. And Pittsburgh girl has or Beth as we know her, had a pretty good retort. She says, Lynn, it seems kind of stupid that the county is trying to get wood stoves off the streets, but is allowing drilling on all county-owned land. I'd keep the wood stoves instead. You're still frozen over there, huh? Okay. And in regard to the Jordan Miles verdict, what I call the kiss your sister verdict, this from Ron. Lynn, I think part of the solution to police who want to be judge, jury, and executioner is to house these criminals in police-only jails. Ron writes, I don't think we need a large increase in jail construction or conversion, maybe about 8 dedicated prisons all over the country, and they'd be home to local cops, state cops, federal police, criminals. I think juries, Ron writes, have on their conscience a guilty verdict will put these lawmen in dire circumstances. That they don't find them guilty because they don't want them having to go to jail where they'll be with the convicts that they might have arrested. And so we could get rid of that concern on the part of juries by simply building police-only jails. Ron, I like that. And I'll give you a quote that fits it. I said I wouldn't do any more quotes, but I got to do because it fits right in with it. Of course, I can't find it. Dang it. It was a George Bernard Shaw. Oh, wait. Have the courage to be foolish, unreasonable, outrageous thoughts are the creative forerunners to what will work. Indeedy. Okay, taking a break. We'll be back.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Pittsburgh City Paper's Pirates Preview is available now. Pick up one today for a look at the Buccos as they head into the 2014 Big Aspirations. Plus, Cedric the Entertainer, La Boheme, Minios, and Les Zeppelin. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, your smartphone at citypapermobile.com, and on the iPhone App Store and Google Play.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Hello and welcome to the, now what was that guy's name again, show? A lot of you are saying that the Chicago columnists are trying to help me, and I appreciate that. A number of you have said Mike Royko. Good guess, but not. It's not Mike Royko, and the other one whose name I've been able to think of, who it also is not, is a guy named Irv Kupcinet. But I want to say the last name there begins with a G. whether it does or not, I don't know. Margaret writes that success is to be loved, to love and be loved. Yeah, it's not, okay, I'm not going to disagree. That sure is a first step. But you're saying if that's all you have, you done good. Maybe so. Maybe so. I just very quickly want to say something about the Eagles, and then I don't want any. Don't give me any crap, okay?
They're so cute.
Let me tell you, they were on. Now they've made every network newscast. They were on. There's a really nice story on the Eagles on NBC's news last night. And I normally wouldn't know that, but I was looking at the chat stuff, next to the Eagles picture, and somebody said, "Oh, they're going to be on NBC News." So I made a point of looking in there. In fact, they were. And at the time they were on, what was happening live in the nest, I thought was more compelling. And I was screaming at my screen. I can see right now that I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to watch this. Because as Jess just said, oh, they're so cute. Yeah. Well.
What were they eating?
What?
What were they eating?
It's not what they were eating. It's that the mother, and I'm really down on her. But this is why it has to stop, because this is nature, and we're putting our sense of what mothers do or what the right thing is to do on a bird. Will we please shut up? I'm telling myself, shut up, but I don't think I can watch. Okay, so we were told before they hatched that that they will feed the firstborn first, that firstborn will be really cared for. Well, now I'm seeing that. And it makes you want to just weep for the secondborn. And I am hoping number 3 is smart and doesn't bother coming out of the... No, because number 3 would not get fed at all. And so what happens is she completely stuffs all this food down number 1, and number 2, who's just a little bit smaller, he was born the next day. Number 2 is, he's sitting like this, me, and nothing! She doesn't give him anything! And even if he tries to, then he comes around to the other side, me, and then the number 1 will, he's 3 days old, he's already a bully. The big one is, and he's getting stronger because he's getting all the food. So it's like Republicans. These friggin' Eagles are like Republicans. They give everything to the kid who's already out in front, who was born first, who is a day stronger, who will pull away in strength because he'll get fed constantly. And then if she still has any energy, she drops some stuff in the poor little number 2's mouth, but number 2 will never be able to catch up. Oh, God, number 3, stay in. I don't even know if it hatched overnight or anything, but God, that little one has not a chance. Anyway, it still is just amazing to watch. And people are saying, oh, I think they had a fight, the mother and father. She left the nest for 2 full hours, and I was nervous because I wondered when she was coming back. I thought, she's never been gone this long. Oh, my God, what's happening? And the male was looking freaked. He was looking around all the time, getting up, feeding the kids a little bit. And he's much more egalitarian, the male, the dad. In feeding. He tends to, and when they're both there and they both start feeding, he feeds the little one. Number 2. So anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so everybody is ascribing human traits. Oh, they're mad, he's mad, she didn't like what he said about this, and now the little one wants that, and they're thinking, oh, this, and they are not. If they were thinking like us, they wouldn't stand there completely ignoring this little teeny thing who's desperately trying to get some food. Okay, now I'm done. So, I came across a very funny correction in the Post-Gazette today. I thought it was a funny one. Hang on, before I get to it, let's get your emails in here. Tim on wood stoves. There is a bounty on wood stoves because of the poor air quality in Allegheny County. I don't know how much they contribute, but they probably are a fact. Yeah, that is true. But I think what Beth was saying, if all of a sudden we're so concerned about fine particulate matter, why don't we be a little more concerned about what this fracking might be doing to our environment as well? I understand. Yeah, Dorothy was reminding me that I said I'd get a ornithologist on. Yes, I absolutely have to do that. I do. I intend to do that. I do. Thank you for the... I talk a lot and then I don't act, right? Barbara says her favorite Lynn Cullen quote is, "Live each day like it may be your last, and learn each day like you will live forever." Oh, yeah. I was thinking, I said that? Yeah. You remembered that. I forgot it. And Barbara says it's become like a mantra to me. Live each day like it may be your last, but learn each day like you'll live forever. Ooh, that is a good one. That is a good one. That is a good one. Okay, I'll have to copy that down again and stick it with my... Thank you for that. Okay, so yesterday, I think it was, the Post-Gazette ran a picture, and in the picture was someone I know very well, Tim Stevens. And Tim was identified in the picture. It said Tim Stevens, president of the Pittsburgh National NAACP. And I read that byline and that caption, and I thought, no, he's not. I mean, he was. For a long time he was. But he ain't. And I thought, how odd to get that wrong. I mean, I really thought that was odd to get that wrong. So anyway, today, here's the correction. The correction is bizarre. Because first, it says this, Tim Stevens is chairman of the Black Political Empowerment Project. He was honored Monday night by the League of Women Voters for prompting the creation of the Coalition Against Violence. Now, I'm not sure what that's about, but maybe that was what the story... I can't... But then, here's the line that's so funny to me. The current endeavors of the former president of the Pittsburgh branch of the NAACP were incorrect, in a photo caption Tuesday. Now, wait a minute. Okay, so they still haven't said, all they had to say is Tim Stevens was incorrectly identified as the current president of the local branch of the NAACP. He was the president of the from so-and-so to so-and-so, from this date to that date, and currently is chairman of the Black Political Empowerment Project. That's what a regular, ordinary would have said. But just the wording, the current endeavors? We don't talk like that. Even news reporters don't talk like that. The current endeavors of the former president. Here's where they finally admit that he's the former president, and they do it in this sort of a round way. They don't say, we said. It is I'm sorry. Whoever wrote that has to go back to how to write a correction school. Because this is the most convoluted, funny, if you know anything about how you write a correction. This is ridiculous. And nobody says the current endeavors of the former president. Do they? My father used to talk like that, but we used to make fun of him for it. And what are your current endeavors? He might say to some poor guy coming to pick me up for a date. No, really. Instead of saying, and what do you do? My father, and what are your current endeavors? I mean, that you would just say, currently, Mr. Stevens, yabbity-yabbity-yabbity-yeah. Jeez. Okay. Did you see? Okay, so Obamacare. Here's funny. They exceeded the goal that everybody said there's no way they were going to reach after the disastrous website fiasco-y thing. And even the most optimistic said, no, there's no way they're going to get the $7 million that they wanted, but, maybe they could get $5 million. Anyway, they got more. They topped $7 million, and the number's growing because people can still be signing up to the new Medicaid, to Medicaid through the expansions that have occurred as a result of the Affordable Care Act. And also some of the people in the pipeline that got in, in the last few weeks, but some of them are not counted yet. They haven't gotten that, and there was a run on the place in the last few days. So, by all measures that were put in place before the rollout, this is an overwhelming success of the enrollment period, and without a doubt, ensures what I was saying yesterday, that if Barack Obama does nothing else in the 2.5 years left of his presidential term, he will still have a marked place in history, and a positive one, of being the president who did what no other president had ever been able to accomplish. And he managed somehow, without one Republican vote, which the Republicans, of course, they're still trying to scuttle this thing, which is, insane for them. The figure is probably about 10 million Americans now have insurance. And the Republicans want to take insurance away from 10 million Americans who never had it. My sister was telling me about someone she has known for decades. Hardworking, poor woman who in her 60s finally has health insurance. And how when she announced that she had health insurance, there were tears in her eyes. See, Republicans don't know people like that. They just don't get it. Here is Mitch McConnell talking about the Affordable Care Act yesterday. It really is a catastrophe for the country. That's what Republicans call a catastrophe. People who had not had access to health care because they couldn't pay for it, given the system we've set up, now do have access, and that's a catastrophe. And John Boehner has said he doesn't care. The Republicans will continue to try to repeal the law. I got to tell you, if Democrats, this rumored debacle that's going to happen, as so often does in the midterm election in November, with Republicans probably taking the Senate and certainly keeping the House, that if Democrats would get off their fat asses and vote in those not particularly interesting elections because there's no president at the top, if Democrats would get out and vote, we can avoid the horror of having a Republican-controlled Congress doing nothing but, for 2 years, attempting to strip people of health care, to roll back every progressive measure that the Obama White House has managed to put out there with no help from them. So, through the new insurance that people have signed up for the Affordable Care Act's provision that adult children up to the age of 26 can stay on their parents' health plans, to expanded eligibility for Medicaid, the Rand Corporation, which is nonpartisan, just crunches the numbers, baby. They say it is an estimated 9.8 million. I'm rounding it up to 10. 10 million Americans likely have gained health coverage under the law. And those estimates and numbers will continue to grow since, as I said, Medicaid enrollment continues throughout the year. And many states and the federal government are extending marketplace enrollments, as I also said, beyond the official deadline of the last day of March. And as the president acknowledged, why are folk, he's not acknowledged, he asked the same question that any rational person would ask. Why are folks working so hard, he's talking about Republicans, for people not to have health insurance? I don't get it, said the president. Why are they so mad about the idea of folks having health insurance? Said the perplexed president. And he pointed out to the viewers of Fox News, look, guys, there are no death panels. Remember those? There are no death panels. Armageddon has not arrived. Instead, this law is just helping millions of Americans and will help millions more in the years to come. And the debate over repealing this act, sorry, that's over. To which, of course, Boehner said, we will continue our efforts to repeal what Mitch McConnell calls this catastrophe. Oh, a song's coming to mind. Poor Johnny One Note. Do you know that song? Poor Johnny One Note called out with gusto and just overwhelmed all the crowd. Poor Johnny One Note. Blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking Republicans of Johnny One Note. No, 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 no! We'll take a break.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
BurgBargains.com is your best bet for great deals in the Burg. Log on today for exclusive bargains from your favorite events and shows like Pyrofest, City Theater, and the Symphony, plus discounts on gift cards to P.F. Chang's. BurgBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BurgBargains.com.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than the old bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Okay. Hey, I just got an email from one of you who says that when he's watching on the live stream a video, a thing pops up saying, "You're missing the video converter tool. Click here to download."
Yeah, but don't do that.
Jess says, "Don't do that. That's it's an ad. You don't need it, and you don't need it."
Mm-mm.
No.
It happened to me at home the other day.
Okay, don't do it. And Joan, no, it's not Bob Green. We're still, maybe I made this guy up. Oh no, I didn't. I know I didn't. I'll figure out who it was. Damn it, I just will. Henry, one of the reasons I love to listen to you is that you have such great vocabulary. Thank you. You often remind me of words I've forgotten to use. Like today, you used the word ascribing. Yeah, I started to say subscribing. I remember. I started saying subscribe when it's not right. Ascribing. Such a simple word, but not one that jumps to the forefront when you need it. And then you'll make up a word that sounds completely legitimate, like egalitarian. Now, wait a minute. Didn't I say egalitarian? That is a word. Or are you kidding? Egalitarian is a word. The father? Oh, he's punning. I was talking about the father, the eagle, and said he was more egalitarian, which, if you spell it incorrectly, is a pun, right? Thank you. I didn't get it, Henry. That shows how smart I am. So he says, thanks for giving his vocabulary a boost. Well, you are welcome, and I just love it when I'm talking to somebody, and I think both Tom and I almost just called Chris Chip. I don't know why. In my head, 4-letter word beginning with C. I didn't, though. Tom and that Chip Potter, they do say things and use words that I often, I've heard of, although Tom comes up with the ones I haven't necessarily heard of, because he throws in that Frenchified stuff a lot. By the way, speaking of Tom, I do not know if he's going to be here tomorrow. He's had a little bit of a setback. So, think good thoughts, send them his way so we can get him back. Okay? Maybe we'll have him tomorrow. I hope. All right, so what else did I'm sorry. I'm getting a little Obamacare signups. Chuck writes, I used the TurboTax software last week for my federal and state income taxes. If you are unfamiliar with the software, to help you complete your returns, TurboTax interviews you and asks you questions much like an accountant would ask you. At one point, the software asks you if you have health care. If you say no, TurboTax gives you a bit of a sales pitch on buying health care. Good for them. And explains the tax penalties that you will incur. And then helps you find your way to healthcare.gov. I thought this was a brilliant way to drive people to sign up for healthcare. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, depending on what circle you travel in, you might not have been on the receiving end of this incredible drive toward the end to get young people, but they know where young people are. It's why Obama did his, the thing on the internet talk show Between Two Ferns, and all this stuff. You go where they are, and the unions have had a lot to do with putting their people out there, and the nonprofit community has been extraordinary, getting to their constituencies, the Ys, the big. Planned Parenthood, I know, has been busily trying to sign people up because, well, they're a healthcare nonprofit, and there's just amazing number of people and organizations who have been working on this, and they had to overcome that startlingly ineffective rollout that we'd all like to just forget about. So I bet our tree-cutting chainsaw victim guy will make it onto, like, the tabloids. Do you think? Do you know the story? This guy working for a tree company trying to cut a tree down the other day in Ross, and he's using a chainsaw, and somehow it kicked back, and literally, do you not know this, Jess? The chainsaw, like, embedded itself, here's the x-ray, in his neck.
He's alive?
He is alive and talking.
What?
It's beyond belief. It's somehow, that chainsaw did not hit the carotid artery. It was this close. And everybody did the right thing afterwards. They held the saw in place. They took the motor out. They took him. Nobody moved him. He was brought to the hospital with the saw still in. Everybody did their job really well. And he is alive, talking, sitting up, eating. God. Yeah, he's fine. It's unbelievable. But why did I bring that up? Sydney Harris! I told you, started with a G. Sydney Harris. Brilliant guy. Thank you. That's my Chicago, that's the Chicago columnist. Janet, thank you. Sydney Harris. I'm writing it on the back of this scrap. He has compilations of his stuff out that just mind-blowing. I mean, wrote long ago. So we all, you think of all these great Chicago columnists. He was not as well known as Roy Coe or Studs Terkel, both of whom I had the pleasure of interviewing. But I never got to interview Sydney Harris. Oh, thank you, Janet. Mwah! I don't have to worry about that one. I know why I wanted to do the chainsaw thing. I wanted to remind myself to ask you the following. So yesterday late afternoon, I'm standing in my backyard and enjoying the sun on my face and piddling around in the backyard, picking up twigs and clipping a few little things back and just luxuriating. And all of a sudden, I hear this strange sound, almost like a groan. And I stopped and I looked, because it seemed to come above me. And then I heard it again. It was like it sounded distressing. It was a combination groan and a sense of great stress, and it quite clearly was coming from this big old tree. And when the wind particularly blew, and the way upper branches of that tree would move, you would hear it again. Now, this is a tree that I have been watching out of the corner of my eye for the last 10 years because it's very old, it's very big, it looms over my home, and it's not in good shape. I have spent thousands of dollars trying to keep it alive so it doesn't fall on my house. I've had things excavated around it to get get stuff off the roots. I haven't had it injected with this or that to, waylay bugs, this, blah, blah, blah. And I swear, I don't think I've ever heard that level of what sounds like I am about to fall. Or if I'm not going to fall, part of me is. And I was looking particularly at this one sort of big branch, which actually happens to be over my neighbor's yard. And I think that's where the groaning was coming from. And I was thinking, I also asked, I never want to ever cost a tree its life. They're so precious. But I think the wise thing to do is to get rid of this tree. And so I called the right people who take trees down, and they looked, and they said, I wouldn't touch it. And I said, why not? It's too dangerous. That's why I thought of this. These guys do extraordinarily dangerous work, tree taker-downers. There's that vocabulary in action again, I'll tell you. It is impressive, Henry. Tree taker-downers. It is, according to somebody, one of the most dangerous occupations you can have. You can end up with a chainsaw in your neck. But his concern was that there are also power lines that are right up against the tree. The tree grew, and there's these power lines right there. So I think when this baby goes, assuming it falls that away, it's going to take down there's a transformer just 20 feet away. I think it's going to be a big mess. So he said he said there's no way any private firm's going to do this without, you know what he said it might cost? Do you know what he said it might cost?
How much?
No, you can't even imagine. You can't imagine. That's why I just put it out of my mind till yesterday and the groaning started.
How much?
$20,000.
That's crazy.
For a number of reasons. It's almost impossible to get the equipment they need to my backyard, which is a city. So the houses on both sides are real close, and I have no way to get to the backyard. And then I think part of it was equipment costs, but also probably, $20,000 to do something you don't even want to do? On the odd chance that you're going to be, killed one day by a tree falling on your head? I said, nah, forget it. Then yesterday, the groaning started. I've even noticed the squirrels seem to make short shrift of that tree. They leap onto it and then get the hell off it as fast as possible. So somebody suggested maybe if I called Duquesne Light, they would rather take that tree down than deal with the disaster that might occur if they don't. But I don't know. I hate things like this. This is the kind of things about being a homeowner, or to be a responsible adult that I just hate. Who wants to deal with this groaning tree? I took a video of the groaning tree because I thought I gotta play this for somebody so they'll hear this, so they won't think that this is an odd sound. I have heard trees scream. I have. There was a storm when I lived in Madison, Wisconsin. And I was sitting in this house that my husband and I rented on the shores of Lake Monona. And it was an ice storm. And I guess I'd never really been in an ice storm. And I was alone in the house, and the ice, I could see it, was like piling up like an inch or two on the branches. And you started hearing these eerie sounds of like crack and crack, and limbs were coming down, and trees were screaming in pain. I swear, the night of the screaming trees. And in the morning, it was like horrific what that storm did to those living things. So anyway, I think my tree is in trouble, and I think it was very, very vocally telling me that. But I really don't know what to do. So I wanted to pass that on to you in case any of you might happen to be an arborist. I guess not. Damn. Uh-oh. Getting news in that Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision. No. Well, this just looks like Citizens Unite. No, this individual. Not that we should all be surprised, Frederick writes, but in another 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court just struck down overall limits on individual contributions to political campaigns. Well, that's fine. Let's just turn our entire country over to the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson. Okay? Let's just do it. Why even bother? With a court like this, you would think the Republican legislators could just relax and stop trying to, piddle around by closing polling places. Hell, the court just allowed every gazillionaire to give as many gazillions as he wants to whatever political candidate he wants, I think. I'll have to get more. I vaguely remember they were doing a case like this, but I didn't pay attention. Please tell me that so you're right. That's not like some blast from the past. This is a lost United Healthcare United Citizens United thing that got lost 3 or 4 years ago and just arrived in my mailbox. No. Dang it. Okay. Well, I think that's it. On that depressing note, damn it. Oh, I'll give you one more quote. Here's a quote. Excuse me, I'm screaming. This fits in with this Supreme Court, and it fits in with McConnell saying that Obamacare is a catastrophe. Here is a quote. It's hard to believe he could have been this forthright, but this is a direct quote from conservative, neoconservative, always hawk, right-winger William Kristol. Listen to this. He's talking to his Republican friends. There's too much concern and attention for, quote, the people.
Sorry, is there
There's
more?
more. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's just the lead-in. There's too much concern and attention for, quote, the people. After all, we conservatives are on the side of the lords and barons. We are pulling up the drawbridge against the peasants.
Oh my God!
You cannot believe that he actually said that, but I'm telling you, he actually said it. I wrote it down at the time because I was couldn't believe it, why I didn't put a date and exactly the place he said it. He said that. I kid you not, I couldn't have made it up. Hey. Okay, well, that's it then. Have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Go Bucks, and don't rain on their game. And what else? And feed that little eagle, damn it. Goodbye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.